Hello and welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. This is the iGold Advisor channel. It is March 17th, 2022, and let us continue with the analysis on the silver market. This is a critical time. I know we lost a lot of people in the last 2 years of consolidation. A number of people threw in the towel and said they couldn't take it anymore, but this market is poised for another major move, and I want you to be aware of that so you can choose to participate in the best way that is right for you. Before we go any further, I want to take a moment of silence for all the victims of war, of all war, and specifically the war that's going on in Ukraine. Let's move into the analysis. There was a Federal Reserve meeting today, and they did hike interest rates by 0.25%, the first interest rate hike in almost 4 years. And so we will look at how the markets responded to that, and then we will get into the silver charts. Make sure you hit the big red subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll be notified when these videos come out. And also make sure to follow us at iGlobalGold on Twitter. Sometimes I don't have a chance to post here on YouTube every single week, but I usually get quicker things up there on Twitter in between. So there was the Federal Reserve meeting today, that first interest rate hike since 2018. Absolutely classic price action that we saw today from the precious metals as Jerome Powell was raising rates and speaking. Look at what we saw. Here is the gold price. We're looking at the green line for today. Notice gold had been very weak over the last several days, giving back a lot of those gains from last week. Notice what happened today. This is 2 p.m. So you have the announcement. You have the announcement of the interest rate hike. Gold sold off almost $20 in about a minute and a half. We talk about this so often. We've brought this up in the past. We've looked at examples of past interest rate hike cycles. We talk about how the interest rate hikes themselves are almost always good for gold, but right at the very end, you see traders panic leading into the interest rate hikes. And that's what happened again today. Notice the $20 drop here in just a minute or two, stopping on a dime, bullish reversal, closing above the previous range from the entire day today, and we're moving higher in the overnight session in Hong Kong and Sydney. This is looking very good, as if this was a significant low for the price of gold. And let's flip over and look at silver. Similar thing, but actually silver was even more bullish here because it did not make a new low for the move. It was a double low that was matched at 8 a.m. and then matched again, but similar short-term price action. Notice the initial sell-off right here. Those last traders, I feel so sorry for them because you have to remember there literally are human beings who are leveraged, and we're trying to short silver. I mean, of course, we have no hard feelings for no sympathy for the banks, for the bullion banks, but I do know there's a lot of individual traders who get caught in these moves here, and so they tried to short silver, thinking, believing the myth from the mainstream media. They short it, and then boom, right? It reverses on them as we were expecting. We've been talking about this, especially in our premium service, that the interest rate hike was more likely to represent a significant low, and then we reverse from there. Also looking very good in the overnight session in Asia, and let's just see if we can continue with this for the week. So the other important news is that the Federal Reserve indicated that they are going to be hiking interest rates up to 6 times this year. That would be basically every meeting from here through the end of the year. So whether it's 5, whether it's 6, whether some of those interest rates get pushed back into next year. I mean, 6 more days like today built into the coming calendar year. Hallelujah, I say. That is very good for us because I think each one of those interest rate hikes are going to represent important short-term lows like this one did today. Let's continue on with the analysis. If you did not watch the video from 2 weeks ago, make sure you get up to speed because we are going to be talking about what's happening right here as silver has broken above this primary downtrend break dating back to the peak in January of 2021 at $30.05. So this downtrend here, and let's zoom it in so you can see specifically what I'm talking about. This downtrend that was broken right there just 2 weeks ago. So the last video that I made went out here 2 weeks ago. We were right in the red circle. Remember that? We were right in this consolidation right here. This is one of those times that I think it's okay to be very specific and very close with looking at the technical levels. We were right in this shaded area. We got the continuation. Now, I did not make a video last week in the premium member update. We were talking about how at any point here, we should expect a retest of this broken line. But that weekly closes on a highest probability should remain above the $25 level. So just look at what we saw here over the last 2 days, this rather violent retrace, and then look at the actual closes. Look at these long wicks. See these long wicks. If you can't see what I'm talking about, my apologies. This is the highest resolution that we are capable of broadcasting in at this time. What I would encourage you to do if you can't see the wicks on these candles, I'm talking about these thin lines right here extending down, pause the video and literally move closer to your screen or zoom in. Certain computers or certain television screens allow you to zoom into this red oval here, because you got to look at these wicks. Notice how silver tried 2 days in a row to close well into the 24s, and each day buyers stepped up to get it right back close to that 25 level that we were watching here. It's that downtrend. This is not random. We cannot predict every single twist and turn with 100% accuracy, but we can get a good percentage of the big moves right. And this is the type of analysis that allows you to do that. Look at that right there, okay? So what does this mean? This was breakout, initial advance, retest, and silver has the green light now to continue moving higher over the short term. And then let's zoom this back in. We were just looking at that. What does this mean for the bigger picture chart? It means we should be making our way back up to this peak here just below the $27 mark in short order. That could be within the next 1 to 2 weeks. I would expect a little bit of a chop and grind here in the mid 26s to low 27s. There's a couple little pivot points here that I think silver is going to just pause for a few days here or there at those levels. Nothing too significant. But I mean, the next real move, which is basically starting now, is the move back to 30. Okay, so I mean, this is happening now. I wouldn't be surprised if this happens in anywhere from a couple weeks to 1 or 2 months is the best expectation here. Let's let silver show us how bullish it wants to be at this point by how much time or lack thereof it takes to get back to this $30 mark. But in this zone here, it's really a zone between just below the $29 mark and 30. You could see some of these peaks all matching up really nicely. In this zone is the next major area of focus here. So from 25 to 30, that's going to be about a 20% move for the price of bullion. From there, we should get a bit of a back off again. I would be shocked if silver just slices through 30 after more than a year of consolidation. I would be shocked. I mean, I'd be happy and prepared because I have a lot of silver exposure already. But from the trading perspective, it wouldn't be my highest expectation. I think we'll back off a little bit, maybe down to low 28s, 27s. round out through the beginning part of the summer, and then the big move happens. And you must have the entirety of your silver portfolio completed before this move happens above 30, because when that happens, we could move very quickly from 30 back to 45, closer to $50. It could be an extremely violent move to the upside that leaves a lot of people chasing it. And then we have to get very precise here in evaluating what's going to happen as we start approaching, those upper 30s, 40s, and that $50 mark. Discussion for another day. Here's what's happening right now. We're on a green light. Things are looking good here. Next area of focus is the $30 mark for silver. Pretty significant low here that's set up. Once again, on the Federal Reserve interest rate hike. On the hike, higher rates, good for precious metals. Remember that. Opposite of what the mainstream media tells you. So let's talk about the silver miners. We just talked about silver. Exact same chart here up on the top. And here is a silver miner that I want to let you know. We are getting ready to buy this company stock tomorrow. And by tomorrow, I actually mean today. I'm recording this late at night on Wednesday evening, but by the time you see this, it will be today. It will be Thursday that we buy shares in this silver miner. And I want to let you know why. Now, there are plenty of reasons to own physical silver. I own a lot of physical silver. I recommend that everyone own a good amount of physical silver, depending on your situation. I was talking with a colleague today, and the topic of moving physical silver came up. And I said, that's a good point. He's moving right now. And he told me, this is such a pain in the butt to lug around all these bars and coins, pounds and pounds and pounds, right, of silver. I said, you know what, you're right. I went through that myself a couple years ago. And I said, there's also a historical precedent for this kind of thing. Think about this for a moment. Let's talk about a lesson from history. In the hyperinflation of Weimar Germany in the 1920s, okay, when the value of gold went from 1 German mark to 1 trillion German marks within 5 years, which was the best performing precious metal? Was it gold or was it silver? Now, this is a tricky one because in a high inflation environment, silver tends to perform better than gold. That's what we saw in the 2000s. That's what we've seen so far out of the low here, with silver almost tripling from its low, the coronavirus low. However, in a true hyperinflation, we're talking Zimbabwe style, Argentina style. Did you know that the historical record shows that physical gold actually performs better in price percentage gains than physical silver? What is the reason for this? Again, I'm not against physical silver. I think everyone should own an appropriate amount. However, I'm just talking about the historical record. Why is it that gold outperformed? Since we're all taught to believe that silver is one of the best performing and certainly the best performing precious metal during high inflation periods. The reason is portability. If you have to get on a boat and transfer $100,000 or $200,000 or $500,000 to the new location that you're going to move to, you can very easily do that with a couple small stacks of gold coins or a few discrete gold bars hidden in with your luggage. Good luck moving a significant amount of silver in a true panic, in a true hyperinflation, or some sort of outbreak of war. Good luck. You can't do it. So, again, this came up today. I was talking about this today with my colleague. And we were saying, that's a reason why there's a few options to consider. One is if you really do think things are going to get that bad, it is a reason to temper the enthusiasm for physical silver and balance it out with some physical gold. That's option A. Option B is some sort of a vault solution located outside of the country that you reside in. You know, whether you're going to do a Sprott physical silver trust, whether you're going to do one of the private vault solutions, so that way you don't have to worry about moving it. Of course, that's not on your possession. And so it doesn't fulfill that requirement of holding the silver on your possession. But you know what? If it's on your possession and you can't move it 100 or 1,000 miles because it's literally too heavy, then what good does it do you anyway? So option 2 is a vault solution. Option 3 is to own silver in the ground. It is still in the ground, and if it's a known deposit of silver or a company that produces silver on a year-over-year basis, and you have an ownership stake in that business, you own silver in the ground. Is it the same as physical silver on your possession? No, that is the point. We're talking about alternative solutions here to owning, thousands of ounces of physical silver. And what's another reason we're talking about this is because silver moves in these cycles where you have a lot of enthusiasm here as silver is moving higher. And then notice from the $30 mark, so here we are from 30, these peaks in silver from 2020 and 2021. I mean, silver, as we just said, is only 20%. For silver to move from 25 to 30 is a 20% move, right, to get back to these former peaks. Very realistic. Nothing pie in the sky. So 20% could very well happen here in the price of silver. But notice what happens to these silver miners that are fundamentally sound, and that's a key. You must do your research to be sure that these silver miners are fundamentally sound. Assuming that they are, when you see these kinds of irrational sell-offs like this, where a company comes, let's say, all the way back down to where it was in early 2020, yet the price of silver has been moving sideways. And when this happens entirely because the sentiment in the sector just got tired and languished, and people were just tired of this consolidation, so they said, I'm not interested in silver miners anymore. Let me sell them even though silver is in a healthy consolidation. You should consider the alternative to those things that we mentioned, the other ways of owning silver, because if it's a fundamentally sound silver miner, these things are historically undervalued relative to the price of silver itself. For this company to get from $3.80 right now, and again, I'm not going to mention the name here. This is going to be going out tomorrow to our premium subscribers. You can do your own research if you'd like to. You can, there's plenty of sources out there, or consider joining us. We invest in these miners together and you get all the research that we're using. But one way or another, you should be aware of this opportunity. If you're saying to yourself, I already have enough physical silver. I already have 100 ounces, 500 ounces, 10,000 ounces, whatever that figure is for you, where you feel like you're protected, but it's still an amount that you could move if you need to move it. And you say, you know what, Chris, I'm not just trying to get 20% here. I mean, that's nice, but it's not really going to change very much in my life. What if you're more than doubling your money, if our thesis is correct here, and this indeed is a fundamentally sound company that has simply been selling off for no good reason other than the silver mining investors were growing impatient. They were wrong about the analysis with the Federal Reserve. We saw those silver traders and the gold traders today were wrong. They were wrong. We can see that. They sold at the very end of the correction here, as they usually do. So, investors as a sum can be wrong sometimes. And I believe this is one of those times where the silver mining investors are wrong. They have sold these fundamentally sound companies down way below their intrinsic value. And the math simply works out to this or this. So think about it for yourself. Consider if you would like to join us. We see that the Federal Reserve is set to hike interest rates 6 times over the next year. Think about today. Today was 1. That's 1 out of 6. If we have 5 more days like this coming where you get these bullish reversals, this could be a very good year ahead of us, and I think it is going to be a very good year. As I said, if you'd like to join us in that silver miner, we are buying it today, Thursday. A flash update is going to be going out to Precious Metals Intelligence subscribers. You get all the signals that we're using, all the research, as well as videos like this that cover gold, silver, the US dollar, and the rest of the US stock market for your awareness, because it's important to have your eyes on what's happening in other parts of the world and the economy, right? If you're a higher net worth investor and you would like to try to achieve the true home run potentials, you should consider our service called Elite Private Placements. This is where we negotiate deals directly on your behalf with these gold and silver mining companies. And if we're right about Silver Miner X and that goes up 135%, I think a lot of these companies are going to go up 500% during that time. Is that guaranteed? Absolutely not. Nothing is guaranteed in the investment world, but we have the data and we have the research to back up these high probability outlooks. You've seen the data today. The next private placement that we are going to do in Elite Private Placements, where you get these free warrants, which is how you get that additional upside, that is going to be coming within the next 1 to 3 weeks. And then that will be it for about another 3 months. So if you would like to get in on this next deal, please make sure you subscribe to Elite Private Placements. If you would like to speak to me one-on-one, if all these options and everything going on in the precious metals and mining world are just a little bit too much right now, I do understand. Most people out there are working their own jobs, their own careers. You know, they may have a couple hours every week to devote to learning about this kind of stuff. Totally understand that. I do this. This is our business. This is what I do full time. So if you would like to work one-on-one with myself, book an hour or half an hour to get educated, to get up to speed on the various options, whether it's a service we offer or not. You know, even if it's just pointing you in the right direction. I'm not one of these people that tries to hard sell our services when we're doing consultations. I simply speak to individuals just like we're talking now. We sit down on phone or on Skype and we go over your situation, and I tell you what I would do if I was in your situation based on the research available to us. Thank you for watching this video. The retest on silver looks as close to perfect as you could ask at this moment. Now, things will never go 100% perfect. Anytime you form a plan or a model or a map of the markets, it's never going to be 100%. I mean, what in life is 100% perfect, right? But this map, this technical model that we've been studying here in silver looks as good as one could possibly ask at this moment. Next major inflection point is 30 plus or minus a buck coming up within the next 1 to 2 months. From there, a little bit of a pause, and then we get ready to talk about moving through 30, and that's going to be a very exciting time, and it's not going to happen in a vacuum either. Something is going to cause that move to happen, and that could be a little bit scary or a little bit interesting from a global geopolitical and financial standpoint, depending on which side of that move you are on. Are you in the currency that is being depreciated in front of your eyes, or are you in the asset classes that are benefiting from this inflation that we are seeing all around us today. Thank you. God bless you. And I will see you for the next video as soon as possible.